All right, hello students. This is Dr. Pfeiffer. I'm going to go through a couple of the tools that we'll be using for our classes starting on Tuesday. Bear with me, I'm a little new to this, so it's not quite professional studio grade stuff yet. All right, what I want to show you is a number of different things. I'll start with our syllabus. This has just been posted um, to our shared documents in Blackboard. So this is our adjusted syllabus for the next, well, for the remainder of the semester. And so you can see this is week 9. This is this week while we're kind of working behind the scenes right here. So, nothing's going on for y'all. We'll start again on the week of March 23rd, which is the 10th week of the semester. And we've got the various things that we're doing and when they're doing. We haven't really changed the laboratory syllabus too much. It's just the way we're doing it. Of course, it's all going to be occurring virtually rather than face-to-face. And the assignments will be handed in all virtually rather than anything handed in, by hand, face-to-face in lab, of course. The biggest difference for our laboratory is going to be the fact that you will be giving us, all of the instructors, but me in our class, a more thorough experimental design. And if y'all can get that to me this week, which is to say today, Saturday, or tomorrow, Sunday, or Monday, or Tuesday before lab, I'll post this document right here, which you'll just need to fill out and hand back in. But then we'll make sure it's totally set when we have our virtual lab on Thursday, the 24th, 5th, 6th, 26th. And then I'll be handing you out data sets that have been culled from previous experiments working with that particular question. We'll hand you out the data sets, and then you'll go through the process of graphing and analyzing and writing a paper and doing all the various other things that were always part of the plan for this portion of the laboratory. Okay, so that's the syllabus. Go ahead and take a look at that. That's posted in our shared documents in the Google documents where all of your lab documents are available. So go ahead and take a look at that as soon as you get a chance. All right, that's our updated syllabus. Next, I want to talk to you very briefly about how we're going to go ahead and do our virtual labs and our virtual lecture for that matter. So our lab is Thursday, our lecture will be Tuesday, so this applies to our lecture as well as our lab. So when you go into Blackboard, and I pulled up our Blackboard page right here, when you go into Blackboard, what you want to do is look for a new link that I've put up over here on the left-hand menu, and that's Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. And this is a virtual classroom meeting area. And you'll notice there's a few things here in the list, and these are grayed out because they're not active right now. These are scheduled events that occur at the times and the dates that they say right here. So 8 a.m. Thursday, that's our lab. 11 through 12:20, Tuesday and Thursday, there's our lecture. For Hoffman students, here's the Tuesday 8 a.m. lab. And then for the SI sessions, Eman will also be having her SI sessions on these scheduled times. All right. So you can take a look at those. And then we also have an open collaborate practice session. This is always open. And this is where I'll have my office hours. I'll put a link to office hours in here. But this is where we'll go to if we need to work together in office hours. So let me show you how this works. All right. I schedule these things, but if I wanted to create a session, I just click this button right here. I give it a name. Another test session, and then in a minute it should give me some other things. So it gives me a phone number that somebody can just dial into using their cell phone or any phone for that matter, a link which can be emailed to anybody. So if y'all want to do a collaborate session for any reason and a student wants to get in there and work on that collaborate session, if they go to the settings page, they'll see that guest link right there. And then you can schedule the event and all those other kinds of good things. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm actually going to go ahead and forget about that. And I'll go ahead and delete that session. We don't need it. Okay, but that's how I set up sessions, and you may or may not have the ability to do that under certain circumstances. We'll see. But if you go into the collaborate session that's available right here, if you to take a look at the settings, here's where you can get that link yourself. So you'll have to tell me if you can open up the settings and take a look at these things. I don't know as a student. But anyway, we'll go ahead and click on this one and go into it. So I'm going to go ahead and join this session. And I'm the only one in here right now, but that's what you would do if you wanted to join. And you know, there'll be an icon here unless you've given yourself some sort of photo. That's not particularly important. Let me see here. Change the size of this a little bit so we can see everything we're doing here. All right. So at the bottom icon, share audio. So I'm sharing the audio now with the collaborate session. You can hear me because I'm recording this entire thing in a tool called Screencast-O-Matic. It's a little application I'm running. Share video, which might get interesting because you'll see me. It's not letting me, and that may be because I'm making a recording already. And then finally, you can raise your hand right here. That means the moderator, which would be me normally, can see that hand being raised, and we do that in a session. And this is how we get into it. Now, an important little thing is this, what I call the, let's see here. I'm going to have to resize this so I can show you something. All right. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay, the little magenta, or whatever color you want to call that, menu item down here. Here's chat. So if you start chatting, you start a chat dialogue, okay? This shows the attendees, everybody's in here, and their status. And this is really, really important. All students who visit this have been made into presenters, which means that you can present stuff. So what that means is you can pull up anything that you've got on your computer and show it in the Collaborate session. So for instance, I'm going to share this really quickly on our screen right here, and we'll take a look at it. It takes about 5 to 10 seconds for it to pop up. There it goes. And so now I'm sharing this particular page right here, and you know, on my computer I can do whatever I need to do with it. Let's see, OneDrive, Real Player Cloud. I'm making selections right here. So I was doing that in the actual application. So you can share something with me if you're trying to show me a document or a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint presentation or anything that you want. This is where you can do it. So I'm going to go ahead and close that now. We can also share a file. And, you know, we've got the thing where we can make notes and draw and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So there's a number of little neat things we can do, and there's also all kinds of interacting stuff that we'll play around with. Anyway, that's how you get into a Collaborate session. The last thing I want to show you about the Collaborate sessions is for our regular lectures and our regular lab meetings, the scheduled ones, I'm going to be recording all of those things. I've got to make sure I've got a reminder set up for myself so that I always remember to record, but we'll be recording these. And then y'all will be able to download those or gain access to them. You don't have to download them, but watch them in Blackboard when you want. So if you don't have time because of a changed schedule now to be at a lecture or a lab or a portion of it even, or you just want to go back and look at something that we covered, you'll go to that recording. All right, and I'll show you how you get at that now. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and leave this session. You can answer this question or you can skip. All right, so we've left that session. I'm going to close that browser. And now I go back to, and I'm going to close the settings right here. So I'm in Blackboard Collaborate. And if I do this little hamburger menu right here, we can go to the recordings. And here's a list of all the recordings, which is none, in this particular bit right here. I've worked in some other areas where we've got already a number of recordings, but they'll show up in this location right here. So you'll go to recordings, you click the little menu here, you go to recordings, and you look for the list here, and they'll be fairly obvious. And if I can rename them, obviously, but they'll always be on the date and the time that they're recorded, so they'll be in the logical order. So that's a little bit about Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, which will be our virtual classroom. Now the next thing I want to show y'all is for yourselves, you might want to take advantage of this particular tool. So I'm going to go to, let's see, hang on a second here, going into documents. All right, so I'm pulling another window in here. All right. And I've gone to Google Drive, and you might recognize this. This is our shared documents for the laboratory. But I want to go over to the various tools we have here. And another thing that's pretty useful that you have access to, you and I, is the Hangouts window, where y'all could do collaborative work on your own outside of the class right here. I've spoken with Dr. Manus in this, testing out this particular tool here, so that's why her name shows up. And you can make a video call or a phone call, or you can message each other back and forth. And so you can communicate, you know, particularly amongst study groups. This is a pretty useful tool. The other thing, if you want a little more bandwidth and a little more power, is the Meets, which is more of a virtual meeting platform for large numbers of people. So we discussed doing classes in this previously before we decided that Blackboard Collaborate would be the appropriate tool. But y'all can use this. I won't use it for official classroom functions because we're required to do all of our stuff through Blackboard, and this is outside of Blackboard. But y'all can use it, and you know, informally we might, you know, take a look at this tool in the future. So a couple of things that we have access to. The last thing I want to mention to you now, and then I'll end this recording, is all of you have been given an email, or have been emailed twice now. And the announcements are sitting on our homepage in Blackboard to please get at this survey and complete this survey right here, which asks about access to technology, your schedule, and any a couple of other things that you might want to report right here. So quite a few people have answered this question for all of my classes, but not nearly enough. 18 is just a little over half of all of my students. In the 1406 and 1407 classes. I'm making this recording really for both groups right now. So please, if you haven't finished that survey, please do it and contact your partners, your study partners, and try and remind them to do it if they haven't yet. All right, that's about it for right now. I'm going to post this video, and this is something that you can download or access in Blackboard, and I'll send out an announcement about it. Again, don't forget, we'll meet 1406 people. We'll meet Tuesday at 11 o'clock in my lecture. If you've got Miss Hoffman's lab, you'll meet at 8 o'clock Tuesday morning for her lab. And my lab people will have our lab at 8 o'clock on Thursday as normal. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.